Hello and welcome to the WB Mason Coacher Report on GoHofstra.com. Joined as always by the head coach of the Hofstra baseball program, John Russo. Coach, welcome.
Hey, thanks, Lon, for having me.
Little bittersweet episode of the WB Mason Coacher Report, as obviously our last one of the season. Would love to still be playing, but here it is, our last episode of the 2019 season. A chance to look back at the campaign and highlight some of the key moments and key players. So just start with an open. Obviously, this past weekend against William & Mary, a must-win series. Take the first game of a doubleheader on Friday, then drop the second game, and then lose on the final game of the season with a chance to get into the CAA playoffs. Just overall, your recollections on this past weekend.
Just a crazy experience to have a one-game playoff for it all, to make it into the tournament, to think that where we were basically a month and a week ago with this team, to see them develop and see them grow and see them do what they did this weekend even was incredible to me. Long Island, I don't know if anybody understands the burden we have in the CAA with these teams, but another team on the island had a big clash this weekend, and they're facing an RPI of 222, and we're facing an RPI of 81, and here we are on Friday night, and Jack goes 6 innings, 6 hits, 1 walk, struck out 6, and then Andrew Monday comes in and closes 3 innings and gets us a win on Friday night, and it's as good a win as there is anywhere in the country. I mean, you beat an 81, RPI team, and as good a team as there is in the CAA. And so I thought the guys were ready for the moment this weekend and really good. And we got off to a bad start there in the second game. Gave up 6 in the second, but really, fought, I thought, that whole game. But, it set up the big game on Saturday. That was a one-game win it all and in. And, got a great performance from Ryan Rue. I mean, that kid to be a freshman, and he was perfect through 4, only faced 1 over the minimum. Through 5, and at the end of the day only really gave up I think gave up 4 runs in the 6th there, but I mean, he was awesome. I mean, that kid's future is incredible. For him to tote the ball every weekend all year long as a freshman is incredible. And then we scored 4 to get up 4-0, but I just knew we were really tight on bullets to be able to stop them, because Jimmy Joyce, who'd been great for us all conference stuff, and he wasn't bad on Saturday either. He'd just been really sick, and it was just out of the momentum. And then Jack came back and gave us everything he could, and then Seamus and stuff. We just didn't have enough to stop a really, really good William & Mary team.
As you mentioned, the latter half of the season, at one point 6-24 after 30 games. The last 20 games, 12-7-1. Really remarkable turnaround, from where they were. Could have packed it in. I mean, at one point, it was.
That's what happens.
And they didn't, to your credit, to their credit, and really finished the season strong and competed. I mean, even during the 6-24 stretch, I don't think anybody questioned the competitive fire or anything. The team performed all season. It was after that Towson, in the middle of that Towson series, a switch flipped, and those last 20 games really competed as well as any team in the CAA for sure.
Definitely.
Some good news this week. Obviously, the All-CAA conference teams were released. 4 players honored from the Pride: Vito Freesia and Jimmy Joyce getting second team honors. Vito at catcher, Jimmy as a utility player, and then Ryan Rue and Anthony D'Onofrio being named to the All-Rookie team. As you said, the future is bright with Ryan and with Anthony, and then you have so many other newcomers and freshmen, Ryan Morash, and I'm going to leave people out, but there's just so many young players on this team that saw action, that got experience, that played 40 games, 35 games, had 100 at bats or more, that going forward you have to feel good about where this team is headed.
Yeah, I think that's the big takeaway from the meetings, these past 3 days, how everybody knows we're so bright, where we lost like 90 to 95% of our pitching staff from last year. This year we returned 95% of our pitching staff. And then you had the position players that you all mentioned, and just a lot of great guys. And the toughest part about Saturday wasn't losing to me; it was losing basically 7 seniors. And then I found out afterwards Roush was graduating too with them, and so basically 8 guys. Andrew Monday is going to probably end up returning, but then to lose just 8 great character guys. Oof, it's been super tough on me. I'm still not over it just yet. It hasn't gone in my head. And the foundation that they laid, to give the Morashes, D'Onofrios, Flaherty's and stuff, they just showed them how it was the right way and be the consummate professional. I mean, just the character of OC and Zeedham and Dan Page and Michael James and I'm missing guys here. Just that they brought to everything. Parker Quinn, how did I miss Parker, donated the end of the bus, almost was the Godfather in the Godfather game. Just crazy stuff like that is I haven't gotten to just yet in my head. And to be in my last 2, or this interview this year, and I would assume next year to start next year's interview, will be the last times I talk about Vito Fresia, is tough on me. I mean, he was as good a player in Hofstra baseball history as we've had. Bleeds royal blue, did it since 11th grade, since he committed here. He used to attend games every Sunday and stuff, and to not have him as part of the lineup or part of the team, I definitely haven't gotten over. And I hope we're talking about him again, getting drafted professionally here in a couple weeks and stuff. But what he brought, what his family brought, everything was just invaluable to this program and to us. And I don't know, it's a tough one for me. I hate seeing those kids go. And you talked about all conference. I think Vito should have been up for Player of the Year and more or less finishing second. And Jimmy came through pitching and hitting, so I get that. And the 2 freshmen, but Austin Gaudier had an incredible season. I thought had a really great argument for third team. And then even Rob Weishire in the outfield, I thought there wasn't many guys that hit 6 home runs and had the doubles that he had in conference. That was good a hitter and developing all year. And I gotta feel like he could fit somewhere in the 9 best outfielders in the CAA to do it, but gives good motivation to those guys this summer and next fall, and understand that they got a little bit disrespected in this aspect of it, and gives us good motivations as a program and stuff moving forward. But without that senior class, I don't think we make the comeback we make in that second half of the season, because they're the ones that stood strong and sold out and got this group going in the right direction.
You had one thought that sums up the 2019 season for you about this team. What would it be?
We put a lot of emphasis in getting these group of guys on character, and character is what defines everybody. And I think this group as a whole, their character can be unquestioned. What they did in the classroom, 3.27 GPA. What they brought to the Hofstra athletic community, that their participation off the field, basketball games and every events, and doing as much community service, not getting in trouble on the whole year as a group, staying out of trouble, then having adversity of being 6-24 and just saying, hey, I'm not going to stand that. We lost, of those 24, over 14 of them were by 2 runs or less, and so they very easily could have put their head down, but no, they showed what kind of character they had and kept fighting. And they sweep Wilmington at home for the first time in school history, and got themselves on the map. And the game that ended up hurting us the most was the 4-3 loss on Saturday night at JMU, and they couldn't have fought harder that whole weekend and had so much go against them, and they're down 0-2, yet they come out and score 6 in the first inning on Sunday, and they're like, hey, we're not quitting. This is what we're going to do. And that was all character. I mean, really tough for me. I won't get over this group. I told this group I will remember them for life, and what a foundation they set for this program going forward overall.
Coach, I thank you for your
Thank
time
you.
this season. It's been great talking to you every week and working with you all season as always. And you've been watching the WMAC Coach Report on GoHofstra.com.